Eternal Shadows, The Guardian Sacrifice. 1.
Prologue. Whispers in the Woods. It all started with a single Reddit post. A user, under the pseudonym ForketTentrails94, shared a chilling story about a remote forest in Montana, where hikers had reportedly disappeared without a trace for over 2 decades. Locals whispered of the Silent Grove, an area no one dared to enter after sunset. According to the post, the police had found journals, broken equipment, and even tents, but no bodies. The story exploded online, attracting the attention of amateur detectives, thrill seekers, and skeptics alike. Among them was Alex Chambers, a retired journalist turned true crime podcaster, whose career had peaked years ago.
With dwindling listeners and a desperate need for a comeback, Alex decided to investigate the claims.
What started as a way to boost ratings soon spiraled into something far darker, too. The team, assembling the curious Alex, wasn't going in alone.
Through Reddit and some local connections, he assembled a team of volunteers. Jamie Carter, a college dropout and tech-savvy hacker who thrived on solving internet mysteries. Dr. Evelyn Pierce, a cultural anthropologist fascinated by local legends. Mark Hensley,
a rugged outdoorsman who had grown up near the Silent Grove and wanted answers for his childhood friend's disappearance. Lisa Grant, a skeptical paranormal investigator known for debunking supernatural claims. The group met in a local
diner to plan their expedition. Evelyn brought maps and historical documents, pointing out how the area had once been home to an indigenous tribe that mysteriously vanished. Jamie shared a digital archive of unsolved cases linked to the forest.
Lisa dismissed much of it as coincidences, while Mark warned them about the unpredictable weather and wildlife. Despite their differences, they all agreed on one thing: they needed to uncover the truth. 3. The first clue. A vanished trail. The team set out early, armed with GPS devices, cameras, and survival gear. The first 2 days were uneventful, aside from the eerie silence that blanketed the forest.
Birds chirped during the day, but as dusk approached, the woods grew unnaturally quiet. Even Mark, a seasoned hiker, seemed unsettled on the 3rd day.
They discovered something bizarre, an overgrown trail marked by stones etched with strange symbols. Evelyn recognized them as belonging to an ancient language, possibly a warning. Jamie captured the carvings on his phone and uploaded them to a cryptography subreddit. The symbols sparked a frenzy of discussion online, with theories ranging from pagan rituals to alien markings. As night fell, they set up camp near the trail.
But sleep didn't come easy. Strange sounds, half whispers, half growls echoed through the trees.
At one point, Lisa swore she saw a shadow dart past her tent, but the others dismissed it as paranoia. 4. The abandoned cabin. The next day, the group followed the trail deeper into the woods until they stumbled upon an old cabin. It looked abandoned, but the door was slightly ajar. Inside, they found a chilling sight: photographs pinned to the walls, showing hikers and campers who had reportedly disappeared. Some of the photos were decades old, while others seemed recent. Lisa discovered a dusty journal on a table.
The entries were written in a shaky hand, detailing a man's descent into madness. He spoke of the shadows that watch, the voices that lure, and a ritual called the Calling. Evelyn theorized that the man might have been trying to appease something or someone in the woods. Mark, uneasy, urged the group to leave, but Alex insisted they press on, convinced they were close to uncovering the truth. 5.
The ritual sighed. As they ventured further, the forest grew denser, and the air felt heavier.
Finally, they arrived at a clearing dominated by a stone altar covered
in the same strange symbols they'd seen earlier.
Surrounding the altar were remnants of offerings, animal bones, burned candles, and what looked like human teeth. Jamie's phone suddenly malfunctioned, and the GPS stopped working.
Lisa's usually rational demeanor cracked as she admitted she felt like they were being watched. Mark's instincts kicked in, and he warned the group to stay together. Then they heard a low, guttural hum that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The shadows around them began to move, taking on humanoid shapes that melted into the trees whenever they turned to look. 6. The disappearance. At night, Jamie vanished.
His tent was empty, his belongings undisturbed.
A trail of footprints led away from the camp and disappeared near the altar. Alex blamed himself for pushing Jamie to come, while Lisa and Mark argued about whether to continue or call for help.
Evelyn, shaken but determined, pointed out that Jamie's disappearance matched the patterns of the previous cases. The group decided to split up. Mark and Lisa would return to the cabin for supplies and hopefully find a way to contact the outside world,
while Alex and Evelyn would follow the trail further. 7. The truth unveiled. Alex and Evelyn's journey led them to a hidden cave, where they discovered ancient paintings depicting human figures surrounded by shadowy shapes.
The paintings seemed to tell a story of a pact made long ago between the tribe and the shadow beings. In exchange for protection, the tribe would offer sacrifices, but when the tribe tried to break the pact, the shadows consumed them. Meanwhile, Mark and Lisa found a radio in the cabin, but couldn't get a signal. As they prepared to leave, the shadows attacked.
Mark fought valiantly, but was dragged into the darkness.
Lisa barely escaped, returning to the camp bloodied and frantic. 8. The final stand. The remaining trio regrouped, determined to end whatever cursed the forest. Evelyn theorized that destroying the altar might sever the connection between the shadows and the physical world. Armed with what little they had, they returned to the clearing. As Alex smashed the altar with a sledgehammer, the shadows materialized, their forms more distinct and terrifying.
They lunged at the group, but as the altar crumbled, the beings let out an otherworldly scream and dissolved into the night. 9.
Epilogue. The cost of truth be dawn. The forest felt different. Birds chirped, and sunlight pierced through the trees.
But the cost was high. Mark and Jamie were gone, and Lisa vowed never to set foot in a forest again.
Evelyn planned to publish her findings, while Alex released a podcast episode that became a viral sensation. The Silent Grove was officially closed off by authorities, but whispers of its curse persisted.
And on Reddit, a new user, Shadow began posting cryptic messages, claiming the shadows weren't gone, they were simply waiting. 10.
A new mystery. Echoes from the void weeks after the Silent Grove investigation ended. Evelyn received a package with no return address. Inside was an ancient,
weathered book, the same journal from the cabin, but now with new entries.
The handwriting was unmistakably Jamie's, detailing events he could not have witnessed. The journal spoke of a place called the Void, described as a liminal space where time and reality blurred.
It hinted at rituals far older than the Silent Grove, capable of summoning even darker entities.
Alex, though skeptical, couldn't resist the story's pull.
With Evelyn and Lisa reluctantly joining him, the trio began piecing together clues. 11. The Void's expansion group tracked down similar symbols in other locations around the country, discovering an alarming pattern. The Void was spreading, and each site contained remnants of rituals meant to either summon or contain it. This led them to abandoned mines, ancient ruins, and even urban alleys where shadows seemed unnaturally thick. 12. The Living Gate. Deep in the abandoned subway tunnels of Chicago, the team encountered the Living Gate, a pulsating, glowing portal that seemed alive.
Evelyn theorized that the gate was feeding on fear and despair.
When Jamie returned unexpectedly, he warned them to avoid it at all costs, claiming it was an entry point for something far worse. 13.
Jamie secretly revealed that his time in the Void had changed him. He could sense where the gates would open and warned of an ascension ritual that could permanently open the Void.
This placed a ticking clock on their efforts to stop it. 14. The ascension clues following cryptic leads left by Shadow Truths. On Reddit, the group pieced together the details of the ascension ritual. They learned it required sacrifices at 3 specific gates, including the one at Silent Grove.
15. The final confrontation. Returning to Silent Grove for the last time, Alex, Evelyn, Lisa, and Jamie performed a desperate counter-ritual to collapse the gates forever. As shadows attacked, Jamie sacrificed himself to seal the final portal,
ensuring the Void's influence was banished for now. 16.
Epilogue. Whispers persist that the gates were sealed. Evelyn knew their work wasn't over.
Alex's final podcast ended with a cryptic warning. If you hear the whispers, run. The team's legacy was secured, but the Void remained a lurking threat in the shadows. 17. A new earlier survivor of a similar encounter, Marlene Griggs, reached out to Alex. She claimed to have crucial knowledge about an artifact capable of permanently severing the Void's ties to our world.
Her cryptic message hinted at a deadly price for wielding such power. 18.
The artifact hunter team traveled to Siberia, braving extreme conditions to retrieve the artifact from a hidden temple. They faced off against a fanatical cult worshipping the Void, narrowly escaping with their lives and the artifact in hand. 19. Shadows in the city. Back in New York, the shadows began manifesting in greater numbers.
Evelyn theorized that the gates weren't fully sealed and that the void was fighting back, desperate to break through once more. 20.
The betrayal Marlin revealed her true intentions. She sought to use the artifact for her own gain, believing
it could grant her dominion over the void. A fierce confrontation ended with Marlene's demise, but not before she unleashed a wave of shadowy horrors on the team. 21. The final Plainvlin devised a last-ditch effort to use the artifact in a
grand ritual. Combining all they'd learned, the ritual would take place at the nexus of all gates, a remote mountain where the void's influence was strongest. 22. The climb the team's ascent to the mountain was fraught with challenges, avalanches, shadow attacks, and the constant psychological torment of the void's whispers. Each member faced their deepest fears along the way. 23. The nexus at the mountain's peak. They discovered the largest gate, yet a swirling vortex of darkness. As the ritual began, the void unleashed its full might, summoning shadowy creatures. To stop them. 24. The sacrificelessa made the ultimate sacrifice, stepping into the void to stabilize the ritual.
Her actions gave the team enough time to complete the incantation, collapsing the gate and severing the void's connection to our world. 25.
Epilogue. The Legacythe world returned to normal, but at great cost. Alex's final podcast became a tribute to those they lost, while Evelyn vowed to protect the knowledge they'd uncovered. Though the gates were gone, the whispers lingered, a haunting reminder of the darkness that once was. 26.
A haunting letter weeks after their apparent victory.
Evelyn received an envelope with no return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper, written in Jamie's handwriting. The note read, "The gates are never truly closed.
They watch, they wait.
You must act again." Alongside the message was a map, marking a desolate area in the Nevada desert. The team was conflicted. Evelyn and Lisa debated whether it was truly Jamie's hand or another trap played by the void, but the specificity of the map left them no choice but to investigate.
They packed their gear once more, unsure if they were walking into salvation or doom. 27.
The forgotten Pyrathia journey led them deep into the Nevada desert, where they uncovered a structure buried beneath the sands. The locals referred to it as the Forgotten Pyramid, a place of myth said to predate even the oldest known civilizations. As they excavated the entrance, Evelyn noticed symbols eerily similar to those at Silent Grove. Inside, the air was suffocating, thick with an unnatural tension. The pyramid's walls were carved with depictions of humanoid figures bowing to an immense, swirling darkness. The deeper they ventured, the clearer it became. This was not a human structure. The carvings told a story of a race that tried and failed to contain the void. At the heart of the pyramid, they discovered an ancient, circular chamber. A pedestal in the center held a crystalline orb that pulsed faintly with energy.
Lisa hesitated to touch it, sensing an ominous power. Evelyn
deciphered the carvings around it. Only light can sever shadow.
28. The ancient Devasith team quickly realized that the orb was part of an ancient device designed to nullify the void's influence. Evelyn theorized that activating it could collapse all remaining gates permanently. However, the inscriptions
warned of a cost. The device required a living conduit, someone to act as a vessel for the void's energy during the activation. Lisa volunteered, but Evelyn refused to let her.
"We've lost too much already," Evelyn said.
They spent hours debating, but the discussion was cut short when the pyramid began to tremble. Shadows emerged from the walls, their forms more solid and terrifying than ever before, fighting their way through the labyrinthine corridors. They reached the device's chamber just as the shadows closed in.
Evelyn began reading the incantation.
Etched into the walls, the orb growing brighter with each word. 29. The Shadow Council. Before the ritual could be completed, a group of figures entered the chamber.
They were human, but their eyes glowed faintly with an unnatural light.
"We are the Shadow Council," their leader said. "We have preserved the void for centuries."
"It is not a curse but a gift." The council revealed their intent to harness the void's power for immortality and dominion over the physical world.
They had been tracking the team, waiting for the right moment to intervene. A brutal confrontation ensued. Evelyn and Lisa fought desperately, using the limited weapons they had, while Alex worked to complete the ritual. One by one, the council members fell, but not before summoning a colossal shadow creature. It lunged at the team, forcing Alex to
make a fateful decision. He grabbed the orb, placing it on the pedestal and channeling his own energy into the device. 30. Eternal Vigilance device activated. unleashing a blinding light that engulfed the pyramid.
The shadow creature let out an earth-shaking roar before dissolving into nothingness. The walls of the pyramid crumbled as the ground beneath them stabilized. When the light faded, Evelyn and Lisa found themselves alone. Alex's voice echoed faintly, as though coming from everywhere and nowhere.
I have severed their TIs, but I remain.
The void will not return as long as I stand watch. Evelyn and Lisa wept, knowing Alex had sacrificed himself to ensure the world's safety. The orb lay shattered, its energy spent. The pyramid collapsed
Entirely, burying its dark secrets forever beneath the sands. Returning home, Evelyn dedicated her life to documenting the events, ensuring future generations would be prepared should the void ever stir again. Lisa, haunted but resolute, took up Alex's podcast, turning it into a network for those who sought to fight unseen evils. Though the world seemed at peace, Evelyn would sometimes wake in the dead of night, hearing faint whispers.
And somewhere, in the space between worlds, Alex stood as the eternal guardian against the darkness.